All right, we have another historical battle to bring you. This one is Champion Hill. It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be a new feature of the channel, but you can see you're getting the history real quick right there. So if this is only in the dev branch for the time being and you're not on it, you can go back and you can pause that screen as you care to, and you can get the full history they're going to give you on Champion Hill. But I'm not here for that history part, right? We're kind of making it up. So this battle took about an hour in real life. It ain't going to take an hour on here. It ends up going in about, there are kind of 4 different stages here, and you kind of get a sense of it as to right here. I'm at the kind of bottom of the map. Champion Hill is here. It figures prominently later in the battle, and the reason why the screen looks so jerky, it's not something I'm doing on the recording right now. It's that I don't know if it's 3D models or just other things, but it was pretty hard to jump around from unit to unit, division to division. And it's not like other games where there are kind of hotkeys you could lock that if you tap it, you jump to it. Actually, there might be, but I don't know what they are, and I haven't used them. So if you know, kind of like give me the heads up, because it'd be much easier to just tap a key to go to a division instead of scrolling and moving around. But so my scroll speed is really high. But this is how it starts out. We're doing as the CSA. We're going to be down in this battle in relative terms by about 50%. You can say, yeah, it's just 10,000, but we're standing with only a little bit more than 22,000. And so in relative terms, this is a significant disadvantage. This first part here, there's not all that much. Okay, so at the top of that screen, you can kind of see the threat. I'll drag it and I'll pause it. No. It's going to be on the right. So you can see the infantry coming down the line. I'm trying to get my cavalry back because they're not as numerous as the infantry that's coming at them. It's going to be 2 infantry brigades and a artillery battalion. And I've ordered all my forces to kind of vacate this position back here and to move up, because Champion Hill, here, I'll pause it right here. Champion Hill, actually, it's perfect, is not the highest point. If you can see in the top left, right there, that's actually a higher point. You'll see it when we zoom into the kind of 3D map. And so I thought there was a pretty good chance that they would come up that middle where it's pretty open, and I would be on slightly higher ground. I'd be in the tree line. We'd get fortifications. I kind of thought they were further off than they, well, you'll see. But the first engagement is going to be over here on the right. I was quite perplexed at how quickly their army got on me. I don't remember when it happens exactly, but their units just come flying down that road, and then they make this interesting choice to stop pursuit on the road and then start coming through this field. So if you've been unfortunate enough to see any of my other videos and you're kind of, you know what my playstyle is. If I see a unit moving like that, first of all, they are moving to intercept me, but I have several more brigades. We brought the cavalry back. We have artillery back. That brigade is kind of isolated itself from everyone else. And yeah, it would be great if I could move the rest of my army to catch up with the other divisions. But I'm thinking there's a chance for a free pick right here. That brigade up there kind of started right about where Barton is on the road, and so they didn't have that far to move, and I believe I set them about making the first set of breastworks. But hey, these guys are going to march through an open field. That other brigade, it's close, but it's not really close enough, and I think if I could move swiftly, it's a big if, I might be able to get a quick pick there. That brigade is going to move lightning quick, though. It's going to move much faster than I'm able to get my forces on top of them. Let's see, Ratliff Road, yeah, that's the main point. You can see that brigade is still making its way through the openings there. It kind of cleverly avoided the forest in front of it, and it looks like it's on an angle to come out to the left of Ratliff Road, kind of where the skirmishes are that I'm moving right now. Again, I'm not all that concerned, and I think in the end this was a good way to delay the majority of my forces getting up there. I didn't know that I don't think the AI was trying to be that sophisticated about it, but it ends up being an unintended consequence. I don't want to dwell too much on this conflict, but you could probably tell from the numbers involved that this is not going to go great for the AI. It's also not going to grow. Not going to grow? How about not going to go? All that well for me, because well, eventually I'll get some favorable matchups, and we're going to have the force of numbers and angles. It delays a lot of my force getting to that prime position, and there are going to be other issues as well. Here we are in our normal kind of skirmish off. There we are. That's what we all came for. At least that's why I was playing this battle anyways, and trying to share it is for the 3D models, and there is quite a bit of that. But yeah, we put the usual roadblocks up in front. The two brigades behind them are supposed to be building entrenchments, and for some reason they just really don't do it. Fast forward. Well, yeah, we'll fast forward a little bit. So this is coming up on that high ground, right? So the one division that was closest to it is now there. They've kind of joined that other brigade that was out on an island for a while. Yeah, they're still doing the weird skirmisher movement things where they flee at odd angles from enemy. Whatever. But I thought this was their main force, and I was like, oh, I planned this out perfectly. Well, as perfectly as I could. It was only 2 brigades initially, and I had several, and they were entrenching, and I was going to kick out skirmishers. I was like, all right, we're in a good position. We'll get fortified. We'll polish off the force down there, and then we'll get together up here on the high ground, and we'll make merry at their expense. That was the plan. Back down on the bottom. All right, they've kicked out a unit of skirmishers for their lead brigade, which you can see made really good time, almost making it to Ratliff Road down there. I've gotten 2 skirmisher groups now around that brigade, and so whichever one it shoots at, I'll duck with that skirmisher group, and the other one will stand up for the better rate of fire and all that other stuff. But yeah, we got 4 groups of skirmishers out here, so I feel this is pretty good against... For right now, it only looks like 1 brigade and 1 battery, but I thought I saw a 2nd infantry brigade up there earlier. But all in all, I think we got 4 brigades, plus a cavalry brigade, plus an artillery battalion, plus all the skirmishers. I felt for what I was looking at, like this was going to be a pretty easy hold. And now I'm bringing around the brigades of that division, and we're trying to get, not a concave, but we're trying to get a better surround on that 1 brigade and just shoot it out. Of course, that doesn't sound like me. Sounds like I'd be trying to look for melee, and I am, but until the other brigades arrive, I'm going to have them just shoot it out. I think if you're concerned about casualties, which pretty much everybody is, I think melee generally reduces your overall casualties, and this battle really made me think of that. All right, so there, I got 2 out of, I think there's 3 infantry brigades there, and I was like, 2 of you are about equidistant. All right, my artillery just unloaded on them. We've been shooting them in the flank and in the rear, and they got skirmishers, so it's time to 2v1 them and try to break off the 1st brigade there. Now, there are clearly 2 infantry brigades there alongside that artillery battalion, but I'm still not worried. I do know that I am going to be outnumbered. I didn't think it was by 50%. I thought it was less than that in relative terms, but it's not a battle with which I am very familiar, only from what's in Foot's history of the war, which, is enough for the basics, but I have no idea what the topography looks like or where, the relative positions of units come from. I'm going to learn it in this battle, and it's worth keeping in mind. I'll recommend you play the battle, maybe as the Union as well, and I think I want to do it for the Stones River battle, which looks like a challenge to the Union, but also very winnable. Alright, so we routed off their skirmishers. Those infantry brigades were not doing what they were supposed to. Alright, whatever, what's new? We're into melee, and yeah, lost the brigade, but you can see the good news is that they have lots of lost resilience. It's only about 1/7 or 1/8 of those hearts up, and so, their casualties were actually quite light. For a brigade of almost 2,000, they lost under 100, and you would see, if I knew what was going to happen, the other brigade will end up breaking that brigade in the field, I think. All right, up here, we're just constructing. So we did rout them with that 1 brigade, but you can see that they quickly rallied, just like My infantry brigade, the one that you saw break earlier, also rallied. We now have this exhaustion effect kicking in, and so those who were engaged over there are tired, but I have more numbers, I have artillery support, and I'm pretty confident that that's going to be a win. You can see there's a cavalry brigade as well as there, and it looks like that one brigade that was probably just in melee but didn't break is actually not very tired or exhausted. Their cohesion's breaking down, so things are rough. It should have probably started to surprise me that I wasn't seeing more Union troops come up the road here. But when you're in the moment, and this is what it's like in real time, it's micro-intensive because a lot of the brigades are under strength, particularly the two cavalry ones. You see some of the infantry ones are a little bit closer to what they are in the campaign. And while I was not here, I did order I think I ordered my cavalry in, and they finished off that one brigade. The artillery battalion is back there, but it's too far away. My infantry is getting too tired to really pursue with the infantry. I think I send my cav after them kind of on their own, and that was a risky decision. I don't know the size of that battalion, but I do know that my cav are pretty limited in number in that brigade. I think it's only a few hundred. All right, but the rest of that division, tired or not, we're going to bring them into the rear of that other brigade. Yeah, and we're going to try to finish that off and then rejoin. But yeah, I think alarm bells should have started to go off, but again, I'm not really familiar with the timing. All right, so we're skirmishing some close-ups. You can see those skirmishers laying down, looking all good. Yes. All right. Continuing to entrench up here on the hill. There's the cav getting into their battalion. And you can see the infantry from that brigade, I think, are just kind of moving around, but without... Oh, that must have been them whipped out. That must have been why their flag went away. All right, then we break that battalion. So that's good for us. This is up top still, and you can see, now I'm starting to see reinforcements, and so I guess this kind of allays my concern, like, oh, there they are, and the reinforcements are coming in, and you can see they're either very tired or exhausted, so I'm like, oh, well, no, this is, geez, I might be able to beat these guys without reinforcements. Man, these are good things. Skirmishers routing off is no problem. Alright. That brigade, I'm continuing the surround on it. See that one group of skirmishers already shot through their ammo. I think I'm generally leading with skirmishers. Up here, they're starting to crawl their forces together, but again, I know they're tired. I know they have to come uphill. It's going to expend more stamina. I know that I have trenches or breastworks in various state of repair. I'm going to kick out some fresh skirmishers. I'm still not that concerned yet, but that artillery is moving back, and I think pretty soon I realize something. Right now, I'm just worried about getting pressed in the front, and I don't want my artillery getting shot off the field. Let's see here. All right, this is the conflict down below. It looks like my first brigade to arrive went in assault column. Apparently my other units are shooting. They shouldn't be. One of your friendly brigades is in there, and it looks like, yeah, they broke. So you can see that blue envelope gets kind of blacked and red out. So that means that they're broke, and that's over. Now we got to get all of our tired forces together, and we got to go up here, and we got to try to hold this position. You can see they're now pressing. Surprising, their artillery battalion is kind of marching into my skirmishers. Why they didn't shake out skirmishers and advance behind them, I don't know. Why they didn't wait. You can see off in the distance in the top left corner by that house, there's another brigade. They're marching in line rather than column up the road. So that's not optimal for them, but it's welcome for me. Here my skirmishers are retreating through them. Again, that's another weird thing with... I don't know. Ah, is this when I realize it? All right, they're pressing me pretty tight, and Yeah, so at this point in game, I've realized, yeah, what you can probably guess if you're looking at how I'm moving these troops, which is they are behind me. And you could just see it there at the bottom left. And at this point, I don't know how many. I think I see 2 brigades. When we go back there, we'll see it. But I have all these forces down here. They're strung out all over the place. We wasted our time, beating up a battalion and 2 brigades, which is, something. But now we have tired forces, disorganized forces. That's the overall commander. He's kind of just, doing the midpoint thing between his other commands to try to reduce order delays, because I don't know where the threat's going to come from. And now I see that I was about to get sandwiched between the forces that were in front of me, which seemed to have some momentum and reinforcements coming up, and now forces behind me, and my reinforcements were nowhere near close enough or in position to be able to intercept what's coming into the rear of this division. So at this point, I was thinking, this may not be a battle I want to post, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I did it. I played it through, and I was like, all right, let's figure out how to try to make the best of this situation. So what I'm going to end up doing is withdrawing my brigades, and I'll click through it here in a second. Well, you can see the overall. You can see some of the overall numbers. I think that was a low count of what I was facing. But yeah, I'm going to try to escape the jaws here, and what I'm going to end up doing is leaving my skirmishers down there to delay the attack in the front. Concentrate my infantry brigades that are up on the... We don't have this here. Yeah, I think they're stuck in a melee with one of their units. Alright, back up on top. So the skirmishers are left down there to delay the advance of that force. And then I'm going to swing all my brigades around to try to get the pick on these. I guess I forgot there was an artillery battalion down there. That's a strange move. It should have stayed on the road, because it can't do much in a forest anyways because of the way the current game blocks line of sight and so forth for artillery. But yeah, there we are. We're in position there and there. And you can see I'm sending that battalion down about halfway down the hill, but there is a clearing down there. And so I figured get them out of harm's way and give them the chance to shoot. Skirmishers are routing off. As you can see, I'm down to my last set of skirmishers. That brigade, I just clicked on the 4th Brigade. They've been in something of a shootout here, and so it's rough. 2nd Brigade, Stephen Lee, at this point, he's in decent shape, putting flanking fire, as you can see on theirs. But I'm worried that 4th Brigade might break. The other 2 brigades were supposed to swing around behind these 2, and it's around this time I'm realizing that I think there are only 2. But I don't know. Like, I've been wrong on these other movements up to this point. And I think at some point here, I think it actually already happened in game, I got notified that I lost Champion Hill. Which means they may have a substantial force between this group up here on the not Champion Hill, but slightly higher, and the group that was down at, I think it was Ratliff Road or whatever that was called. And you can see I'm now moving 2 of the brigades to assault column because I'm looking to get a pick on that 1 brigade. My thinking is if I can get in there and rout them off, it makes it a little bit more doable for the 2 brigades that have been shooting it out with them to pull back without being routed. But these guys are not coming up quickly. You can see it's 11:30 now. It wasn't that long ago. It was 9:45. And because of the distances and the fatigue involved, it's going to become clear that it's gonna be a while before they come on up. So keep 1 brigade shooting at him. I'm sending in one of the other brigades that's in assault column. I have no idea if that's actually a good tactic. You see, that was one of the 2 small cavalry, quote-unquote, brigades. Alright, so we're going to go in a melee. I know that because I saw the cavalry doing their running animation. That means I would only have sent them in. It's weird. They kind of look like they're running in slow motion, kind of like NTW3 players or models. They kind of, even when they're running, they look like they're running in slow motion. Not so much with the infantry models here, but here you can see them. Bayonets out. And first brigade is in. We got 2 more infantry, 1 more, and the cavalry one behind it. There, that battalion, it got back, and this is when I find out, oh, yeah, so they're going to get stop orders because I don't want them going any closer to Champion Hill. That is a much larger force than the one that is over here. Here, the cavalry, their infantry is exhausted. Good for us. Yeah, so they weren't stopping because of order delays, so I figured, well, one of the ways I can kind of slam the brakes on is to unlimber their guns, and that should slow them down. And now there's going to be a bunch of rearranging of the units to deal with the threat that's on Champion Hill. No real surprise there. We got that brigade out, which means there's just the other brigade that they have up here, because I haven't seen a third. And what is an absolutely catastrophic move, those forces on Champion Hill just sit there. So it may not look like it, but in real time, it was not almost over. But for this video, it actually is getting pretty close because of that Union decision to just sit there on Champion Hill. Yeah, they're gonna shoot it out, and we do have to finish this conflict up here. Y'all came for the 3D models, and you should get your fill. It's a little odd, they're not quite shooting at me. Or not all the time. Alright, we don't need to see us not moving. Back to the firefight. There we go. So that's actually 2 of my brigades, one sitting on the top of the other. Apparently they're not blocking line of sight. I think at one point I put one of them prone just to make sure. That's what it looks like now. It looks like one of the units has gone prone so that, you know, both of them can keep firing, but I'm ordering one of them back. And I think my plan is, big surprise, is to try to move it back around so we can get out some skirmishers. But it's this odd situation where tactically both brigades were kind of retreating from one another. Or at least 2 out of the 3 were, and then that Stephen Lee's brigade is just standing there continuing to shoot it out. And this kind of reflects what I was talking about near the beginning of the video, that, you know, as vicious as melee is and as exhausting as melee is, I think that, was there a 3rd brigade in there? I think there was, and I don't think I knew that in-game, and I just realized that now. So it would have been hard for the Union to miss those shots. I mean, that had to be like just a solid butternut wall looking at them, and so they should have gotten their hits. But the casualties here are pretty horrendous, and I cannot believe my luck. They are just standing there in column. If they had come towards that artillery and come toward that road, you know, as soon as they took it, or shortly thereafter, they would have swept out my artillery, which had been pulled back ironically for its security. Yeah, we got a couple of perks, which even though it's in battle, why not? I figured I could still use my advantages because now I know what's in the rear and it's not great. But the casualties are really racking up from that firefight. And again, it looks much higher than it is for the side that wins a melee. And for the side that loses a melee, the casualties usually end up being horrendously bad if the attackers know to kind of charge it repeatedly and get large numbers of capture. Infantry. But yeah, that was a zoom in. I'm gonna try to spread them out because I thought that them being that close together would mess with their cohesion. So I didn't want that because I was preparing to move. It's clear that brigade was pulling out, and there was nothing else that was up on that hill. And now I'm starting to see how I can consolidate my line. And I don't know if it's happening on video right now. It must have happened earlier, but let's see if I'll pause it. If you look up in the top right, you see that kind of intersection up there, kind of where the tree line, the near tree line, not the far one, the near tree line meets the rolling field there. It's either right before this or right after this. I noticed that the Union forces that were there started marching up that road. All right, I'll resume playing. I have no idea. It must not have happened yet, because now that I press play, I see them render in, but I cannot believe that they're doing that. It's been a little over an hour in game. Sorry, in game time, because it was 11:30 last time. It's 12:45 now. They should have continued to press that attack up that hill and to smash into my brigades that are up there, but they don't. Let's see. I think I've sent skirmishers and kept one brigade on that brigade that is up on the hill, and I'm starting to move the other three to deal with the folks that are on Champion Hill. And let's see, anything else? No. Okay, finally we broke that brigade. I think they took well over 1,000 casualties, but my guess is they probably dealt similar amounts. Let's see. Some of the artillery is shooting down on the Champion Hill. Again, it's not the highest. So there, you can kind of see. I missed it, but I might go back because I need to see this in game as well. But you can see they have a brigade up there at the crossroads, and they're going to start marching away from the battle. This is down on Champion Hill. I'm not. It kind of looks close because of the way I'm zoomed in, but I'm actually getting their perspective of what my forces can see, and I'm really trying to get my artillery in a decent position. Bringing over the rest of the brigades that are over there. I do send down some detachments which are tired because there's going to be an opportunity to pick on their arty. So there, you can see their artillery, that battalion way up there at the top. They were moving with their infantry up that road. And yeah, they're just going to sit down here and get pummeled for a little bit. This is the pair of skirmishers I send to harass their arty when I see their infantry kind of starts to move in the direction of my forces at the bottom of the hill. I figured, if there's going to be a shootout, let's do a shootout. And that was it. So oops. Let's see if we can go back here. Just to the end. So this was the very end. The retreat timer had already gone off. Right there, this brigade dancing over here. But I was waiting to get my forces rested, and then I was just going to send everybody in against whatever was left on Champion Hill. But you see, there it is. We actually didn't have 22,000. I think I was mixing this up with Stones. We had just over 20,000, and we were up by 30. We were up against 32,000. So that's even a greater relative disadvantage. That's more than a 50%. I think that's around a 60% or so advantage in manpower. We were out-artied 2-1. This was not the battle. It was Stones River where it seemed like they over-reported our cavalry numbers. And so despite that, we dealt casualties on the order of not quite 4-1, but between 3 and 4-1. So overall, I was happy considering I didn't really know what to expect. There's always the what would I do differently. I'd probably not have that force sit up on the top, not some entire division, but I'd probably have that division maybe take a look at trying to hold Champion Hill, maybe. But again, it's kind of hard to argue with the results. So that was that. If you hadn't had a chance to see it or play it, there it is. It's one of those that might be interesting to do as the Union because you have to deal with the fact that your forces are spread out, but you as the human player get to control how they act, and so I think that kind of reduces one of the main things that was easier about this battle is that the AI probably definitely was not just coordinated enough, aggressive enough, sending in those brigades early to lose, not following up their attacks on the very top hill above Champion Hill, not sending the forces from Champion Hill in to cut off my two armies, which were spread out, which their commander would know, right? Because they had brigades over there that got wiped by, and they were involved with a lot of CSA forces. So, uh, anyways, that's that. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it and bringing it to you, and look forward to bringing you more in the future.